Hello, church family and friends. It's 2 Minute Tuesday. I have a confession to make, and that is that I'm relatively slow in adopting new technologies. Case in point, I didn't get a smartphone until like 5 years after all my friends got one, and I still only use like half a dozen apps. I also, until very recently, didn't use Google Maps for navigation, and specifically that step-by-step navigation function where that little voice tells you what to do next. And I'd like to say that's because I have a naturally good sense of direction and didn't need it. But the reality is I didn't like admitting I needed direction, and I didn't like that little voice telling me what to do, and I really didn't trust that Google knew what it was talking about. As a result, I got lost all the time. What I had to learn is that Google Maps really does know the way better than I do, and that each individual step it gives, even if it feels totally wrong in the moment, is leading me where I needed to go. I have had to learn how to trust. This same set of principles applies to our life with God. This is what life with God is like. It's allowing God to break our earthly journey into very small individual steps, submitting to His guidance and trusting Him enough to take the next step and then the next and the next. We have to trust that each individual step God gives us is leading us where we need to go. The Apostle Paul writes about this in 2 Corinthians 5. He says, "We have a building from God, an eternal house in heaven, not built by human hands. While we are in this earthly tent, we groan and are burdened because we do not wish to be unclothed, but to be clothed instead with our heavenly dwelling. Now, the one who has fashioned us for this very purpose is God, who has given us the Spirit as a deposit guaranteeing what is to come. Therefore, we're always confident. And we know that as long as we are at home in the body, we're away from the Lord, for we live by faith, not by sight." The reason we have to trust God's direction is because we are on a journey toward an eternal home. We can't possibly know the way. Our best instincts only lead us from one earthly destination to another. We settle for earth. God has His sights set on heaven. So we rely on God's written word and God's Spirit. We submit ourselves to God's direction through the means He provides, even though we can't see the whole way, even when His way seems at odds with what we want. Ultimately, we trust that God's directions are good because we know that God is good. And so we walk by faith, not by sight.